Welcome back to Nation of Glory, the home of passion, power, and stories that define legends. Today, we bring you a story that rises from the ashes, a story of beauty, of pain, and of ultimate redemption. A story that belongs to a woman who has faced every wall the wrestling world could build against her, and still smiled through the storm. This is the story of Chelsea Anne Cardona, known to millions across the world as Chelsea Green, the fearless leader of the Green regime. Born in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, Chelsea wasn't born into fame or fortune. She was born into a small world with big dreams. From a young age, she wasn't the kind of girl who waited for miracles. She believed in hard work, in grit, and in chasing the impossible. When her friends dreamed of red carpets, she dreamed of ropes, arenas, and bright lights. Soft background of a cheering crowd fades in. In the heart of every small town lies a dreamer, and Chelsea Green was that dreamer. She wasn't handed opportunities, she fought for every inch of them. Before she ever set foot in WWE, she was just another face in the crowd, training, sweating, falling, and standing up again. There's a saying, some are born to shine, and some fight for the light. Chelsea was both. Her journey began not in the glamorous world of SmackDown but in the tough, unforgiving world of independent wrestling. Long nights, long drives, small venues, yet each night, she gave everything she had. She performed like the audience was 10,000 strong, even when only 50 showed up. Because for Chelsea, it wasn't about the fame, it was about the fire inside. Music swells with emotion. When she entered the wrestling world, the odds weren't in her favor. She wasn't the biggest, the strongest, or the most experienced. But she had something that couldn't be taught, a belief that her time would come. And it did. Slowly, the wrestling universe began to take notice. Her charisma, her energy, her ability to light up the ring, she wasn't just another wrestler. She was a story waiting to explode. In 2015, the world saw a spark, a new name that fans couldn't forget. Chelsea Green appeared on WWE's Tough Enough, a reality show that tested not just athletic ability but heart. It was there the world saw her hunger, her determination, and that electric smile that hid a warrior's soul. She might not have won the show, but she won something bigger, attention, respect, and the first step into a world she had dreamed of since childhood. But life, as it often does, had twists waiting. After Tough Enough, Chelsea didn't get a contract. Most people would have walked away, said, maybe it's not meant to be. But Chelsea, she said, watch me. And she went back to the grind, wrestling in small halls, traveling across countries, reinventing herself, and building a name outside the system. And then, the world met Laurel Van Ness. Sound of a wrestling bell, crowd cheers. In Impact Wrestling, Chelsea transformed. As Laurel Van Ness, she became unpredictable, wild, and unforgettable. The Bride of Impact Wrestling became one of the most talked about characters in women's wrestling. It was bizarre, it was brilliant, and it was Chelsea Green showing the world what she could do when given the mic in the moment. That character, though eccentric, carried something deeper, a woman who had been broken, who had fallen, but who still found a way to stand tall, even if it meant laughing through tears. Soft piano fades in. Behind that character was Chelsea herself, creative, daring, unafraid to take risks. She proved she wasn't just a performer, she was a storyteller. Every move, every look, every breakdown in the ring told a story. She wasn't pretending, she was performing her truth, that from heartbreak comes power. Soon, WWE came calling again. And this time, she was ready. She signed with WWE's NXT brand, the developmental ground where stars are built. Her fans celebrated, her family cried, and Chelsea Green walked into the performance center with that same fire she'd always had. This was her time to show the world who she truly was. In NXT, Chelsea brought her confidence, her talent, and her signature charisma. She aligned with Robert Stone, built a persona, and started to climb. But then, fate struck again. Sound fades to a heartbeat effect, slow, heavy. An injury. A broken wrist, just as she was rising. The dream that had taken years to build, paused in one single moment. It wasn't the first injury of her career, but this one hurt the most. Because this one came when she was so close to touching the stars. She watched from the sidelines, in pain, not just physical pain, but emotional. The world moves fast in WWE, and every day away felt like a step backward. Yet even from the sidelines, Chelsea never stopped believing. Her social media posts, her interviews, they weren't filled with self-pity. They were filled with optimism. I'll be back stronger, she said. And she meant it. After recovery, she returned. But in 2021, another heartbreak, Chelsea Green was released from WWE. Music softens, somber tone. It was one of those moments that test who you are. Many fans thought that was it, the end of her WWE dream. But for Chelsea, it was just another chapter. She smiled through it, thanked WWE publicly, and moved forward. She went back to the independent circuit, but this time as a star. She joined Ring of Honor, NWA, and even returned to Impact Wrestling. Everywhere she went, she made an impact, no pun intended. She wasn't chasing fame anymore, she was building legacy. And during this time, something beautiful happened. She found love, strength, and partnership with fellow wrestler Matt Cardona, known to fans as Zack Ryder. Together, they became wrestling's power couple, two people who knew what it meant to fight, fall, and rise again. Romantic cinematic cue fades briefly. Chelsea and Matt weren't just partners in life, they were each other's motivation. They supported one another through injuries, releases, comebacks, and new ventures. They became symbols of persistence, proof that you can lose everything and still find happiness if you refuse to give up. And then came 2023. A year that would rewrite Chelsea Green's destiny. Music intensifies with excitement. At the Royal Rumble, fans around the world watched in anticipation. The countdown hit 0, and the crowd erupted. Chelsea Green was back, and she was better than ever. Her return to WWE sent waves across social media. After years of setbacks, heartbreaks, and rebuilding, she had finally come home. And this time, Chelsea came prepared. No longer just a performer, she was a leader, a visionary, and a force to be reckoned with. Within months, Chelsea Green's personality lit up Monday Night Raw. She was bold, glamorous, and hysterically entertaining, the perfect mix of confidence and comedy. Fans adored her, and critics applauded her evolution. She wasn't trying to be anyone else. She was Chelsea Green, unapologetically herself. Then, alongside Sonya Deville, Chelsea captured the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, a dream she'd carried since her earliest days. It wasn't just about holding gold. It was about proving that persistence pays off. That every injury, every heartbreak, was worth it. Music rises to triumphant theme. But the universe wasn't done testing her. Sonya Deville got injured, leaving Chelsea without her partner. Many thought the reign would crumble. But Chelsea stood tall again. She didn't quit, didn't fade away. Instead, she turned adversity into art. She carried the championship, reinvented her persona once more, and evolved into something the fans didn't expect, a leader. And so, the Green Regime was born. A stable that embodies not chaos, but confidence. Not arrogance, but attitude. The Green Regime became Chelsea's vision, a faction built on empowerment, dominance, and charisma. Under her leadership, the group didn't just win matches, they changed narratives. Chelsea became not just a competitor but a storyteller in control of her destiny. Sound of crowd chanting, "Green, green, green," softly layered under music. From the indie circuits of Canada to the bright lights of SmackDown, Chelsea Green's story is one of unshakable will. She proved that you can fall 100 times and still rise higher the next. She's faced injury, heartbreak, rejection, and yet here she stands, the captain of her own ship, the leader of the Green Regime, and the symbol of rebirth in WWE's women's division. What makes Chelsea Green's story truly special isn't just her success, it's her resilience. She never played the victim. She turned every challenge into motivation, every injury into innovation, every moment of pain into performance. In a world where so many fade when things go wrong, Chelsea found color in the chaos. That's why fans love her, because she represents something real. Soft background of cheering crowd fades in again. And maybe that's what makes her different. Chelsea Green doesn't just perform, she connects. She's witty, confident, sometimes over the top, but always authentic. She makes people laugh, she makes them cheer, and most of all, she makes them believe. She's the woman who went from Victoria, Canada, to the grandest stages of sports entertainment. She's the woman who dared to dream and refused to let that dream die. She's proof that destiny doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who fight. Chelsea's story is not over, not even close. As of 2025, she stands on SmackDown as one of the most creative, fearless leaders the brand has seen in years. The Green Regime continues to grow, not as a team built on ego, but on evolution. She's turning obstacles into opportunities, one match at a time. And behind every dazzling entrance, every taunt, every smile, there's a little girl from Canada who once looked at a wrestling ring and said, "That's where I belong." Music softens to emotional finale tone. Chelsea Green's journey reminds us that success isn't about how fast you rise, it's about how often you rise after you fall. It's about believing in yourself when nobody else does. And in a business built on moments, Chelsea Green has built something even greater: legacy. Pause. Emotional silence. So, the next time you watch her walk down that ramp, remember, you're not just watching a superstar. You're watching a survivor, a visionary, and a queen of her own making. She is Chelsea Green. She is the Green Regime. And she is the living proof that glory belongs to those who never stop chasing it. Music builds into triumphant outro theme. Thank you for watching Nation of Glory. If you felt inspired by Chelsea's story, if you believe in second chances, in comebacks, and in chasing dreams, then hit that like button. Share this video with every fan who loves a true underdog story. And don't forget to subscribe to Nation of Glory, where every week, we celebrate the legends, the warriors, and the dreamers who define the world of wrestling and beyond. Until next time, stay strong, stay passionate, and remember, every fall has a purpose, and every comeback starts with belief.